Welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TV, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojoverse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the man without fear, Chris.
I'm your friendly neighborhood Brent.
I'm the podcaster Mischief, Travis Snell.
Alliance Assemble. Volume 194. And we just at the end of the year, he returns to us one more time
Snuck in there.
Yeah, snuck in there at that point. Mr. Travis Snell, welcome back to Marvel Alliance, my friend.
Yes, thank you. I'd always like to be on more, but I'm happy to do this. But January thing, we're talking about one appearance, and I for sure can't miss 200. So I think I'll have like a nice little run December to January, and that's the good times. But even though I completely forgot What If and Echo are coming out. So it's not that there's a lack of content. I just it's just a busy time. But luckily, I'm happy to be here and happy to talk some Marvel. And usually it doesn't happen, but I've actually talked about none of these topics, luckily, because we recorded Geek First earlier in the week. So I haven't talked about a single thing tonight. So I'm excited.
I noticed that. I was like, wow, he actually is going to have some fresh thoughts.
So that's good.
I feel like, Travis, I've heard you talk a lot lately because I've been trying to work my way through the X-Men retrospectives you guys did. Yeah. And I've listened to like 3 of those things this week. And so it's like I've listened to... there have been several times when I've been like, you're wrong about this, or you're questioning that, or what's this character?
There's a few times where I know,
this, and I'm not even gonna tell him. It's he doesn't even remember. They were recorded so long ago.
And luckily, I usually say, I'm probably wrong, or I usually say, Chris or Brent's probably mad right now. But
I gotta tell you one, just one.
Go
Forgive
for
me,
it.
just
Go
one.
Yeah, no, go.
The
absolutely.
episode with Iceman.
Okay.
Right? One, when he calls Cyclops an apple polisher, that's a reference to Professor X being a teacher and give a teacher an apple. You guys were like really struggling with that one. And 2,
I've never heard that.
You reference like the giant kaiju or whatever monster that Professor Xavier showed a bunch of the military people. That was a brood. It was from the race of the brood that the X-Men often fight with. They never showed up in the series, but it was just a little Easter egg. Just that one. That's one of my favorite episodes. So I was like, what are you doing?
I only get mad at Travis when it releases on Patreon. It's like, damn it, you got to tell me when this is, because now I've got to wait like a week before I can watch the stuff and then listen.
Listen, the X-Men retrospective was great in concept, but it was because the only other TV retros we've done before has always been like a 2-man team doing the 4. There's many times where, we're going this week, and then it gets pushed. So it was quite an experience. It was enough experience where we were going to do Batman the Animated Series, and we're like, we're going to wait a couple years. We need like a break, because it was just hard to plan. But now they're not even coming out in spring too.
It's fun. I like it. I like it. There's been a few times I've been like, I'm just yelling at you through the radio.
And I always say my comic book knowledge, other than like the big stuff, is like C+. But the problem is with those 3 that know nothing, they send me all so they expect me to know it all. I'm like, I'm not that good. Like, I'm not one of the, like, compared to those 3, I'm like the master. But when they're like, what's this deep cut, the stuff like that, like even the Brood, like you saying that now, like I'm seeing the side by sides, and like I should have gotten it, but like at the same time, I can't remember last time I'm seeing them with pregnant ladies and stuff like that. I can't remember last time I read, like, that's a early 2000s. I think I've read any Brood. Like, I don't think they're anywhere near the Hickman stuff. So I think it's been
the Brood have not come back in.
So I've filed them probably since I had kids. They got the Brood got filed out of my mind, but no, that's good.
They are fun though. They are a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I'm very curious. I am getting ahead. I've got one more episode to watch for the pentultimate show for the first 5. I was like, ooh, these are rough already.
I have a question, and because sometimes they do listen, Kirkland or Taylor skip about, and Dylan actually, I think he listens most sometimes, skip about 5 minutes so you don't get any X-Men spoilers. Skip about 5 minutes. I thought they did on the show. Do they never reveal that Cable and Cyclops are related? Because I always like, just you wait, but I don't think they ever do.
They make a subtle, the allusions to, That's it.
And so I'm like, I can't wait. And then we got to see we got 2 more episodes left to record in season 5. I'm like, I don't think this is ever coming. But
just be glad. Do you really want to explain to them the Summers bloodline?
No, that's a fun thing. It's a big. So I'm not making this a fact or fiction, but I'm going to do a Travis told you that. I bet they'll reveal it in 97 because they have revealed Cables in it. And I feel like that's just prime material that they never jumped into for the show. I was surprised, like, just you wait. And now I'm going to feel like an idiot. We're going to get the show and be like, what was the whole thing with Cable and Psych? I was like, doesn't matter. We'll wait till 97 and see,
We'll find out.
Yeah,
But
we'll see.
anyway, had to chime in there.
No, thank you.
But everyone having a good week?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, almost Christmas, so that's a good
Absolutely.
thing. Almost Aquaman, almost Echo, almost What If, almost Rebel Moon. Chris, you're excited
Yeah.
for that. So there's I've talked
yes,
about
very.
there's I think because Christmas is busy, but there's a lot of fun things and life is good. I'm excited to have some time off, as we all are. So happy holidays, everyone out there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I've got tomorrow is tonight, and I'm less than 24 hours away from heading into winter break, and I'm going to soak up every minute of the break. I need to catch up on sleep and just relaxing and just being time with family and not thinking about work.
Yes, exactly.
Absolutely. Next Wednesday afternoon, I will be officially on break, and I am definitely ready for it.
Yep. So, well, we do have, we are winding down the year, so news will probably start getting kind of thinned out, but we got a couple of gems this week to kind of chew on and discuss at that point. So let us get into the lovely show plugs. So we are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 7 shows covering the wide range of geek and nerdom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUAPod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you want to throw a couple of shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers, or dollar tiers, or tip jar to say, hey, you think we're doing a good job? And then our $5 tier with ad-free episodes, early access episodes, and Patreon-exclusive shows, including our show, We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance MCU Infinity Saga Rewatch. We have 23 episodes up there, Avengers Endgame, and Brent, in 2 weeks on Christmas Day, we give a gift to our patrons, and it is our series finale of We Can Watch This All Day. And what is it, Brent?
Well, it's Spider-Man Far From Home, of course, the epilogue to the Infinity Saga.
Yeah, it's the epilogue at that point. So we conclude it, and as we say it there, that iteration of We Can Watch This All Day will reach its conclusion. Brent and I are tossing around some ideas for next year for Patreon, but we hope the patrons have enjoyed that. It'll be a gift at that point, whether you listen to it Christmas Day or listen to it whenever you can. At that point, it is going to be. It was a lot of fun doing this. It was Brent's first time doing the entire chronological order, and he does give his thoughts on how that was for him.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a long journey for you guys,
2 years.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yep. So check that out. DC Alliance does their DC films through the years. They finally released the infamous, talked about Catwoman breakdown episode at that point. So they give their full thoughts and their love, and I emphasize love hate for that movie at that point. So
many years Joe has said it's the most underrated comic book of all time. So
I know, and
can't
Travis
hear him
has
talk.
looked forward to this moment and actually does say when he will watch it again. He will reveal when he will watch it again on that episode. So check that out. And again, we've got Clay and looking at the Marvel Snap. We've also got Katie doing her Star Wars comics canon. We got a lot of back content out there, so we want to thank our patrons. We can't do this without your support, but if you're not a member of our Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA Network to get all the lovely Patreon content. And if you can't join us on Patreon, take 30 to 90 seconds and rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you get your podcasts. We greatly appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, we want to thank our official sponsor, OrganicPriceBooks.com, for omnibus hardcover collected edition needs. JP and the crew at OPB have got it going on with excellent customer service, immaculate packaging, ships around the world. This right here, Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 3, lasted hours this week when it went live at that point, and it is now officially out of print. It is being restocked in April, so they're getting ready to do some pre-orders of that, a very limited print run for the restock. We've got the House of M companion, all those extra stories going on there. Uncanny X-Force by Rick Remender coming back into print. Predator versus Wolverine. I have 3 issues into it. It is a fun read. I will say that. It is a lot of fun. So
Nice.
But use that code MarvelGUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. And we want to thank them for being our official sponsor. All right, a couple of updates for the network. We've got our Geek Ultimate Alliance crossover. Final one for 2023 will be this Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tier 2 patrons, you will get the link about 5 to 10 minutes after the show starts to join us there. I'll probably make an appearance for a little bit. I will be I have some traveling to do the next day, so I probably won't be there the whole time, but I will definitely be making an appearance on there, and I think most of the network people will be on there. Brent, I think you're still TBA.
Yeah, it all just depends on how late my daughter's event, showcase, recital, whatever you call it, goes. So it all depends on how late that goes.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try to be on there too. I don't know if it'll be the whole thing, but I think maybe for an hour I'll be able to. Usually doesn't work out, but yeah, I think I'll be popping on there too. So I got to send Clay his pizza money. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And next week, I will not be on. I will be.
This is his last show.
Yeah, who knows?
That's why I'm back. No?
Yeah, exactly. He takes, Brent takes over, I take off.
For 2 years, it's going to be me and Brent, and then 2 years from now, it's going to be me and Chris again. And
it's the cycle. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Now, I'm visiting family. We're visiting Aaron's parents down in Florida, so spending a week down there in much better weather than the cold weather right here in North Carolina. So I'll be there next week at that point. But David will be joining Brent next week to break down everything that's going on next week, and I will be returning the following week. And also want to plug World's Finest True Believers is dropping an early episode. This is coming Sunday. Joe is returning in it with a very appropriate themed book at that point. So check that out. The preview will go live tomorrow on Friday on the Twitter feeds. And one plug at that point. Before coming on, I joined my good buddy Omar on the Near Mint Condition YouTube channel to look at what our picks were for what we wish DC would make an evergreen book, and I'm just putting that live in the chat right now. Check that out. An evergreen is like it'll never go out of print. It will always be out there. So the panel, including myself, made our choices for what DC should make an evergreen book. So check that out. And I think that's about it. So what do you think, gentlemen? Should we get into the news of the week?
Let's do it.
All right. So a lot of animation, with What If premiering next week, and kind of looking at that, they decided when they were doing their kind of little press junket, they released some interesting information. One thing we kind of were a little surprised about, one thing we really did not see coming. And first up, it is the new Black Panther Disney Plus series. This is not going to be live action, it's animation. So Disney press release shared that they are announcing the new animation for Marvel Studios animation called Eyes of Wakanda. It's going to be the concept, going to be looking at very similar, maybe looks to be kind of the art style they're going with is, makes probably the What If art style that they were going with. They say that Eyes of Wakanda is throughout Wakanda history, brave warriors have been tasked to travel the world, retrieving dangerous vibranium artifacts. This is their story. And so for the time being, it's unclear whether it's going to be, it's unclear if the series is separate from the Wakanda series being developed by Black Panther director Ryan Coogler, which was initially announced in February 2021, which we have heard nothing about since. And looking at the title and the description, Eyes of Wakanda, it appears fans will get the chance to dive deep into the nation's inner workings as its soldiers travel across the world, recovering stolen artifacts at that point. So, very similar probably to what we saw with Michael B. Jordan's character Killmonger in Black Panther. So, we do have, I'm just having a mind fart moment at that point. What did we call the war dogs at that point around the world that were placed? So is this going to be focused, the way they describe it, it sounds like the war dogs, but it also sounds like someone separate in the sense of, since they're out there recovering artifacts, stolen artifacts at that point. So this wasn't on, and the big thing is, this is right now scheduled to come out next year. They have put that official that it is scheduled to come out next year. So that we have not seen any artwork from it, no preview trailer. It's just, this is what they put out there. So what are y'all thoughts?
I was thinking about this earlier today, and I saw someone comment about questioning, is this canon? Is this going to be part of the canon? I would be surprised if it's not, but realistically, I don't expect to see T'Challa in this, right? Maybe as a young child, because they have a story around T'Chaka, maybe King T'Chaka would be, but I don't think it'll get any closer to the prime time of the MCU than that. I feel like it's going to be other stories completely unrelated to what we've seen, since 2008.
Yeah, I think you could see him as far as if they talk about like the adventures of Black Panther. Maybe you just see like just a small glimpse of him doing something. But yeah, I don't think there wouldn't be anything voiced, of course. But yeah, I was surprised because I know they were saying that, oh, is this the series Ryan Coogler was working on? We don't know. We haven't got that confirmed, because if it wasn't, we heard nothing about this. And nowadays, with all the scoopers out there and everything like that, you usually hear some scuttlebutt of, oh, well, this is being worked on. And the fact that it's being worked on then coming out next year is quite surprising, but I'll take it. I am interested. I think I'm with Brent where I think it can happen, but I don't think it's going to be, there's not going to be any massive events that I think are going to change. Like, you could enjoy this by itself. I don't think it's me. Oh, if you don't watch this, Black Panther 3, or, and especially if it's T'Chaka stuff, well, that's prequel stuff. That's like adding Captain Marvel, or, even, gosh, like the first Captain America, right, is a prequel to the other one. So you're just kind of filling in some coloring of the coloring book. So,
and even if it's totally its own world, Loki, right, like the multiverse is there, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly. So no, I'm excited. I like Wakanda. I like so far all the Black Panther content. I am very curious. I want to get confirmation. I'm sure we will, about what, like I said, is this the cooler one? I don't think so, because I just feel like the cooler one was always pitched as being live action, but you never know, because there's been the Wakanda show and the Okoye show, and then there's been times where people say, oh, that's the same thing, and there's been a lot of just kind of unanswered questions with the Wakanda stuff going on. And it's not that Ryan Coogler, it doesn't make it sound like a bad thing, he's not working on another project currently in the MCU or outside the MCU, right? So the man could just be on a break, but you could see this happening, that maybe he wrote it the same way Matt Reeves was supposedly doing stuff for Caped Crusader, right? So you could see that. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm not sure when this will be. I don't think we got a date range yet, but I've generally, there's some episodes coming up in What If Season 2 that I kind of roll my eyes about, but generally I'll always take stuff as long as it's good, and hopefully I don't think they can screw this up. I don't know.
Yeah, All in the Game said in the chat that he heard it was more of a Clone Wars animation. This is coming from the new Rockstars guys. He said that saw the clip and said it was a similar style. Yeah, that clip, I guess, has not made it onto the leaks yet. I did see someone filming, I guess, the head of animation saying, all right, now put your phones away, this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh,
Feige Sniper came out.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't have any opposition to the Clone War style. It was one of those things that, everyone's kind of, you want to brand something. So when I heard about, X-Men 97, it's actually the What If style, but they've layered on the 97 kind of essence over it. So,
yeah.
I mean, again, I don't mind the Clone War style, but it begs the question at that point, we asked this question: if they're going to have Marvel animation, should everything have the same style, or should it model what they want, and it really doesn't matter? I don't know.
Mm-hmm. I always thought for animation, I get why, I know lots of people go, oh, all the movies are the same, they have the same vibe. I'm always understand that, because it's the big universe. I feel like animation is the time where you could be different. And I want to see till we get actual clips, because we haven't seen what Spider-Man, I don't even know what it's called anymore, Friendly Neighborhood, I think, right? That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That supposedly looks different. That doesn't look like What If. And this happens. So yeah, the 97 thing did bum me a little bit. I want to see it in motion though before I get fully kind of like, oh, disappointed. I would have liked an updated of the old school, but I think for animation I would prefer that, because I'm a big fan of, it doesn't have to go this hard, but I like Star Wars Visions, and I like when we get all these stories in the Star Wars universe, but there's a different style. And I'm not saying you have to make it to that extent, but I think it does give the show its own identity, and I would prefer that. So I hope it is a different style, and that'd be great if we had What If, Spider-Man, Black Panther, all different animation styles. I think it works here for me. I'm hoping that's the case.
And presumably Marvel Zombies will be the same style as What If, since it spins out of that.
Yeah.
I feel like they almost need to, like, if they're telling versions that are supposed to be like slightly altered versions of the characters from the MCU prime timeline, maybe stick closer to What If. But like X-Men 97 is radically different, right? Spider-Man, your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, we still don't really know, like, but it's animation, right? Like one of the joys of animation is being able to do it in different styles. And so I think they should absolutely lean into that. I certainly did not have this on my bingo card, but at this point, I'm just kind of waiting to see that teaser, and I'm wondering if maybe like I could see them releasing it as like the credit scene of as a credit scene on the final episode of What If, right? Like that'd be kind of a good little holiday present, right, to everybody. Like here you go, you just had 9 new episodes, but let's give you just a little bit of a teaser for something next.
Yeah, even like you said, a teaser for 97 and Wakanda, or the Eyes of Wakanda. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to it. Like I'm a big believer, like you said, Travis, like animations where you can stretch. Choose the style that fits the show. Don't force something that doesn't really fit. Like you said, you want to kind of see what it in motion looks like with X-Men 97, but at least on the outside, just seeing it looks kind of like the style at that point. We do that, but this is an opportunity. Black Panther, the whole universe lends itself to let's do something special with it because of Wakanda, because of what it can do. They've been so good at honoring African heritage, African ancestry, all that kind of stuff. So I'd say that's a great opportunity to kind of bring in that kind of style and that kind of feel to that show. So
I agree.
All right, well, let's continue on with animation, as you said a little bit ago there, Travis. Yeah, they also revealed a name change for Spider-Man, which was previously freshman year, has officially changed to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, was part of the lineup at that point. Little else we know about the series. We did see, 2 years ago, we saw the first look at the characters, the animation style,
the fake synopsis.
The fake synopsis that confused the hell out of everyone at first. It's like, wait a minute, is this Tom Holland Spider-Man? Is this wait a minute? And freshman year was going to be the beginning of this animated adventure with a second season seemingly planned, and called sophomore year. Surprise, surprise. And the move may be the first time that Marvel and Disney are no longer pursuing a season 2 and will cut the series short after its first batch of episodes. There was a lot of worry about this because at that point, November 2022, there was, we started hearing about like Marvel Animation basically getting rid of all the people there at that point. And it was just really interesting, especially when it came to What If Season 2. There was a lot of scuttlebutt going on with that. What's going on? Production coordinator Ali Sage in 2022 said, it sucks because unless they change their mind in the next few weeks, it won't be the same amazing crew for Season 2 of the show. And I think it's what's really heartbreaking at that point. So it sounds like they got rid of a whole bunch of people at Marvel Animation just to kind of call them back, just to call some people back, I guess maybe to play ball or maybe to do a new direction. We never really heard anything. I think our first glimmer of hope was when we started seeing the X-Men 97 cast already in the studio recording lines of dialogue. That was the first good sign. And then, we started hearing more positive about What If Season 2. So there's still a lot of question marks about Marvel Animation, but now we hear Eyes of Wakanda. Marvel Animation has not been necessarily something that has been a bright spot, when it comes to kind of Marvel stuff out, for many years since we had the TV shows, the animated shows at that point. But it's been a few years since there's, I want to say maybe Earth's Mightiest Heroes was the last kind of big kind of claim to fame at that point.
That and Spectacular Spider-Man was real big, but I don't remember which came first. But they definitely took some lumps after Earth's Mightiest Heroes and Spectacular were both canceled because that brought about Avengers Assemble and Ultimate Spider-Man and Hulk Agents of Smash, all of which are fun shows, but they're definitely for younger audiences. All 3 of them, I think, are for younger audiences on the whole. But this name change, how do we feel about this? Spider-Man freshman year to Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Overall, I think it's a better name. I think Your Friendly Neighborhood... I would have just gone with Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but Your Friendly Neighborhood... It works. That's being pedantic. I think it's a better name overall.
I'm upset about it because it needs to have home, and I know Travis is really upset about it because it needs to have home in the title as well.
Hey, well, the other no, it's different Peter Parker. We're all good.
That's
I'm
true.
still waiting for Spider-Man 4 to still have a home there. So, yeah, no, I'm happy this is still happening. I just laugh because just from what we got 2 years ago from the synopsis in the freshman year, and it's like everything from that's changed. It's more a what if, and even the name change. I think the name change is good in a sense if it's its own thing. I still thought when originally at one point we thought it was Tom Holland's second year as Spider-Man or something, like, oh, I thought that made sense as a title, right? That's a good thing to catch on, but it's not really that anymore. It's just another Spider-Man animated show. So yeah, I'm fine. I think it fits with everyone loves that title. I'm excited to see it this year. I hope it's good. I think we should, everybody, if you enjoy Marvel animation, I think we should enjoy everything that's been announced between 97. What if season 3 is rumored? There's Marvel's because I'm interested once we get to 2025 if there's any more on the horizon. I just feel like this could be the last call for a little bit, kind of like with the Marvel specials, or what were they?
Yeah.
What were they? Special presentations.
Yeah.
So I'm taking it all in, and I hope it's good. So I'm just happy it's happening because it would have sucked if it was announced. But yeah, I'm excited there's more out there because this panel came out of nowhere. We had no idea because people in the middle of the night just started posting news. We're like, where is these sources from? So them showing off is a good sign. That means it's definitely coming out. They're still confident in it. And I think that might have to do with, we talked about before, there was a bit of a power struggle and then Feige got some more power back. Who knows if animation is the best route they want to go, but I think there was still a sense of, we'd rather finish this off than just can it and completely get rid of it, right? We've talked about that before, where technically so far MCU hasn't pulled the Batgirl or anything like that, where they haven't got rid of a project and they haven't canceled and announced one. So I feel like they want to keep that streak up, and they don't have to make a season 2 because that was just rumored. And who knows, maybe I say who knows, but I think it's going to have its fan base, and that's what you kind of do with it. And hopefully it's good, and hopefully you get to end it off in a note where you could just end the show.
Yeah, on the game saying, given the MCU's current state, are critics/fans more likely to be forgiving of these animated shows if they aren't great as compared to the live action stuff, or will they pile on?
No, I think it's the reverse. I think people are in attack MCU mode right now because they're on the down path. Yeah. So I don't think it's I feel like when everything's great, you kind of hand wave and go, oh, this might be not as bad, but oh well. I think that it's... And even then, I just don't know what critics en masse are going to review this other than people like us that really love this, right? The movies are different because that's Hollywood Reporter, Variety. They get big clicks. I don't think anyone's going to get a huge click from, hey, I got a hot take about Spider-Man or Friendly Neighborhood, right? That's like, okay, cool. So, but I think like MCU fans that are down on MCU might just go, oh, another just meh project for MCU. Here we go. So wait till Deadpool 3.
Yeah, it's weird. 2024, there are, and I sent you guys a link with this, but there's 6 projects right now that are slated for 2024 in total. The whole story is there's only one movie, and that's right, yeah. Deadpool 3. But there are 5 other projects: Echo, X-Men, Eyes of Wakanda, Agatha, and Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. All the focus is going to be on the live action. The 3 live action projects is where all the focus is going to be. No, Eyes of Wakanda and Spider-Man get an automatic pass because this is not right, but comparatively nobody watches them, right? Yeah. Just statistically speaking, nobody watches them. X-Men 97 is probably true, but a little bit of difference there because they're bringing back a beloved show from the big 4 of the 90s.
Some
when
nostalgia
we had
there.
X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, and Superman, and it was just like the heyday of animation for at least for the superhero universes, as far as at least a lot of people, in like that 30 to 40 age group. But that one, maybe a question, but in general, I think all the focus is going to be on the others. And really, with Echo being so early in the year, it's almost going to get a pass because people are going to forget Echo was part of 2024 by the time you get to Deadpool 3 and Agatha at the end of the year.
Unless it's like Netflix Daredevil quality as far as the overall show. If it's one of these things that really hits people.
That's a very good point.
The whole year. But even if it's like just a good pass, like 7 out of 10 type of show, I agree with Brent, especially with January, because I know people think, oh, it's back. It is, but still, like, That's after the holiday break. People start to get busy. Schools open up. You get back to your work. You got things going on. Maybe that's when some people go take a trip. Like there is some downtimes more in places maybe where I am where it gets super, super cold, but there is a chance at the beginning of the year for it to get forgotten if it's just kind of all right. And I agree. Even then with the binge model, you risk that, right? We talk about even massive shows that are like Stranger Things. They'll be out and, there's a time cycle that's obviously a lot different because it's so big, but you talk about it, then it's over. They even started to split their seasons, right? So
sure.
Yeah.
And I think, with animation, it seems like a dur kind of thing, but depending on the animation style, the story may be good, but if people are turned off by what they see in the animation style at that point, like I've tried so many different times to watch anime, it just not my tempo. The stories could be great. It's just like if I can't enjoy what I'm watching on screen, then I'm just it's not going to be watching. So I think that's where animation just has a look kind of thing. If you're not liking what you're looking at, then really doesn't matter anything else at that point.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we'll definitely see exactly as we maybe we'll get that sizzle reel at the end, like Brent's prediction is. I think that'd be a great idea. So, but we'll take our first ad break before we get into the rest of the news. So, as you know, listeners, these ads help keep the light on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud. Give it a 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. And we are back. All right, so I didn't think we were going to have some Captain America 4 news, and I think this kind of went a little under the radar. When I found it, I was like, oh, this has been out there for a little bit, but no one's put it in our group chat and just kind of saw it. So we got some news coming from Deadline. Captain America Brave New World hires Scribe Matthew Orton, additional shooting planned for mid-2024. So with plenty of time before its 2025 February release, Marvel Studios has hired Matthew Orton to pen the additional scenes and material. He will work on the material that will be shot during the spring and summer of 2024, as Deadline understands. Orton has previously worked as a consulting producer for Disney Plus series Moon Knight. And so the reshoots are part of every Marvel movie. We want to say this. We've heard a lot of scuttlebutt saying, oh my God, they're going to be massive. They're making wholesale changes. They fired Captain America. I'm looking forward to this movie, and seeing Anthony Mackie fully take on the guise of it at that point. However, a lot of the stuff we've heard from it is going to be, there's a lot supposedly going on in this movie. And it's going to be very interesting to see exactly, Brent and I have always said additional photography part of it at that point. Mm-hmm. But the fact that this is the first time I've heard in recent memory that they've hired someone particularly not the main writer, someone different to pen additional scenes. Has anyone else heard about that being there?
I feel like the only time this might happen is with Dark World, right? Because didn't Whedon come in and punch in? Yeah, he came in and punched a bunch of stuff.
Dark World had a long train of people that actually worked on it.
Yeah, because it started with Patty Jenkins. So I think that, and obviously that's a long time ago,
and also
right?
the writer's strike happened during that time as well.
So I think that was a bigger one that Whedon came in and punched a bunch of stuff because I think his biggest thing was he added that Cap scene with Chris Evans. I think that was one. I think there was a few. So that'd be the biggest one I could think of. But of recent memory, not of the film. I feel like we've heard some stuff around TV stuff, like with the Secret Invasion, where it started with one showrunner. Yeah, Daredevil. Yep. Secret Invasion started with one, went to another. We heard some of that maybe with She-Hulk. So I think TV it's happened, but with movies, I don't think anything really of late that's a huge one, really. Like I'm trying to rack my brain around it because all the rewrites would be before, like with No Way Home was supposed to be maybe Spider-Man and Kraven, right? But then like actually we're gonna go this route. So it's always the whole team's on board for the change. Like the original writer's not on board. I'm not saying that's a negative thing, but it sounds like they're bringing someone else in to change some things up. So that's the only one I could think of. A massive one for film is Dark World, I think.
I gotta wonder, are they taking, and forgive me, I'm forgetting the character's name, but there's a character from Israel in
yes,
the
right.
world, and I have to wonder is that character going to be in the final movie? Just with everything that's going on right now, with the war there and stuff, and like, is that character going to be in it? I don't know. I'm not saying if they should be or shouldn't be. Let me be clear about. That is the first thought that came to my mind is taking out an entire character where you're introducing a new hero, unless it really is like a 5-minute extended cameo that character was going to have. Probably does require some significant stuff. And yeah, reshoots are absolutely part of every Marvel movie, but it has been a while since we heard of one with brand new writers. New scenes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, they all write, but it's the original writing crew for the most part. Like, a new writer, it definitely raised an eyebrow, but I'm fine. Like, again, just like I was with Daredevil, if that's what the project needs, if they're like, this isn't cutting it and we need to improve too much to improve it, then I'm just glad they're not scrapping it.
Yeah, and remember they literally finished, I think maybe a week or two before the strike started happening. I mean, I had a friend that was there in DC, kind of seeing them do their final shoots at that point. But we always knew people was like, we heard, okay, Loki didn't have any reshoots. That's kind of rare. And they said, well, maybe Captain America 4. I said, I think it's a lot harder. I think it's a lot harder to pull that off in a film. I thought
it might be possible. I agree with you, but I thought it might be possible because we'd never heard of that before. And that Loki thing came out of nowhere. Like, oh yeah, we planned this. So I was like, okay, maybe this is a new thing they want to try. And to your guys' point, where if they're going to do reshoots, technically this is not anything new as far as they just didn't get a chance to do them, right? Because the strike happened, so they would have happened regardless. And now there's time. And there's time apart now. You could change some things. Like we said, the kicker is a different writer, but for me, it's all, and this is where people hate it, it's impatience and it's a waiting game. But for me, all this will matter when we see the final product of the final product of Daredevil, because I'm all for the changes. I'm not saying the sky's falling, because to me, it's like, hey, if you don't think it's working, then definitely change it up. Now, it will be, though, if we get to and go, oh, this still didn't work, what really happened then? Because that can also happen, too, where sure, you can come and write in some additional stuff, but if it's too far gone, you can't save everything, right? Like, if for the best example is, to make another reference to it, but the 2017 Justice League, you can clearly see there's two different visions in that movie, right? There's Whedon stuff and there's Snyder stuff, and you don't want that in Captain America, where it's like, this was the before and this was the after. Even if this might help, that's the thing. So we have to wait and see. We won't get to know till 2 years from now, but I'm trusting them that this is just a part more of the pivoting that they're doing. And this guy doesn't have the biggest track record. I liked Moon Knight enough, so that's okay, but it's not like when Blade, I can't remember the last writer they brought on, it was one of the writers from True Detective. It was like, oh, this is a high quality writer, this is good. This guy, it's like, okay, he's kind of in the wheelhouse. We don't know how much the scene, like how long the scenes are, how big they are, so this won't be anything we really feel until February and a couple of years from now. So
and the only thing that gives me pause, and not saying the wonders of editing work at that point, is like the first thing we're always going to say is, can we tell where a different writer came on board at that point? Does it mesh well? Again, you can do everything you want in editing at that point, but that's always going to be, I think now, from the back of our minds, is can we tell? Because again, he can do the best he can in sense of trying to blending it in at that point, but he has a certain tone of how he writes. He's going to do his best to make sure it matches at that point, but it is a small risk bringing something different. But obviously, either the current writers, the main writers, were not available, which is possible. I'm not going to read saying, oh, they had a disagreement, they can't do it. They not available, but maybe in talking with their new writer at that point, maybe they said, oh, he has a pitch and it's kind of working with what we want to shift Brave New World to kind of revolve around and do. So I mean, give it a chance, but it'll be very interesting to see how many additional scenes they're doing and what they are going to tweak at that point.
Is the director the same?
Yes.
Because, like, for me, like,
is it for sure, though?
I mean, they haven't said that. They haven't said
to that. But that's where I would be the biggest worry about a repeat of Justice League 2017, where it wasn't just the two obvious writers' styles that were different. Granted, they're the same people in this case, but the directing style was so different. Whereas, pick either style and you're going to end up with a better movie than what 2017 was, which was a mishmash of both. So, if they have a new writer, but the director remains the same, that should, that's part of the director's job, I would argue, help blend the two different styles together.
Yeah, and Marvel does have, going back to your point of like the Israeli superhero that's supposedly going to be currently the idea, the rumor is being introduced. Marvel does have that history of like having written one thing, and because of geopolitical world issues at that point, we all remember Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to have a virus pandemic kind of thing going on, and they cut that out.
Yes.
So there is a history of that. All in the game saying some possible geopolitical issues, maybe the Israeli superhero. Yep, we said don't put it out. If it's not ready, don't put it out another cast creative team through what the Marvels went through. Yeah, I mean, again, we said that they now have the time. It's not coming out this year. They literally got a year plus to get this right. Do it. Let them cook. Let them do it.
Yeah, and I think for everybody, right? Like there was those rumors about Superman Legacy and Gunna shot those down, and it's like, well, that doesn't mean at one point that wasn't a storyline, right? Like it doesn't really matter where you are on the issue. It's one of those issues that it does divide people, and there's lots of shades in gray. And in like as much as I still want politics in, or because politics are in comic books, I don't know if that's what they're setting
about.
Yeah,
especially Captain America.
Yeah, especially Captain America. But I would venture to guess, because of the timing, this movie was not made to showcase the Israel-Palestine conflict, right? I'd be completely fine with like, oh, they're going to make a big stance, make a movie that's very political. And here's the thing. This is a movie that's probably about something else, about fighting a Red Hulk at times, that might have had some characters or some of the countries in there, and they might be best for, as I'm not talking about me personally, for them as a business, like corporation, to look, what do we do, X, Y, and Z, because we don't know what's going to happen next few years. It's just safer to split this out. So why there's not too much, like, there is politics, but there's not specifically like, they don't say the words Republican and Democratic in the MCU or DC, right? Yeah. Like that's why, especially because that's such a division now, right? So that's where I feel like it's just from these big corporations, that's what you're gonna do. So I get it from that standpoint. And yeah, no, it's never happened with Marvel. We know their brother or sister company with Lucasfilm's done it a few times, like Rogue One and Han Solo, where someone comes in, and I don't think that's the case. But yeah, I'm interested when the actual shooting happens, if anything comes out. And that would be something else too. If there's someone else, like a second unit directing, that's like a little, that's curious. So we'll see. I'm interested to see what's happening. But again, I'm not going to worry till I get the actual product, and then I'll judge it based on that. So
yeah, it'll definitely be, it's something interesting where you have the new writer coming in. We don't know about the director. There's been no scuttlebutt about that. But you go back where I'm getting at is you have Bob Iger making the comments right now saying,
"Oh God,
I hate to bring it up, but you did bring up the idea of politics at this point, wanting to less about pushing a message in a movie and more about entertainment at that point." So, like you said, Captain America lends itself to be, very much about bringing politics, and we can't ignore it at that point. I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldier, they dealt with a lot, and I applaud them for not shying away from that stuff. I think that's one of the strong points about the show and makes it real instead of that. But when you come to the movies at this point, and Marvel's on a downbeat, could these rewrites be, and these reshoots being, pulling back and making it more entertainment versus messaging? I don't know.
Absolutely. I think that message, I think a lot of the stuff, because like you're talking about when they're down, when you're up top, you can kind of get away or do with a lot more. I do think a lot of that type of message stuff will be pulled back in these movies and shows, which I think is a shame, because to me, it's not, I get what he's trying to say, but I don't agree with it as far as, you shouldn't start off with a message. Like some of the best movies, stories, books have started with a message, and you base the story around that, right? It's like, okay, how do we tell the story? Even Star Wars is about oppression, but it's not right up in your face, but that's the overall message. And Lucas has said many times that was one of his core themes. But that's where I do worry with Iger saying that stuff, that if they're going to have people looking out for him, be like, maybe take that out. Like like you said, Winter Soldier, even maybe some aspects of Civil War. I don't know if we would get that in the next 5 years of what Disney's going to be, because like Secret Wars, that's not going to have like a political, like that's like multiverse people having fun. Deadpool 3, I don't think so. Like maybe Thunderbolts would have that, but maybe they'll take that away and just be about taking down evil Superman,
But it's also, you can't avoid, like you get a movie like when we get Black Panther 3, you
Yep.
can't avoid it. Like it's what's part of the character. It's what's part of what makes that whole world interesting, in the sense of where they're coming from.
Or they can, and they make a really inferior product, and that's my concern about that.
Exactly,
That's my biggest concern about that, is Coogler's talked about or they've talked about many times, where lots of that race stuff in there with Killmonger, that was not initially in there until Coogler came, and everyone was just loving this pitch and loving this idea, and it got more and more grown. My worry is now they would hear that, and would there be an executive shutting that down, being like, oh, but remember, this is like a Marvel family movie, like that might be too like, because I remember seeing Black Panther for the first time, being very surprised half the stuff was in there. I couldn't believe they were doing that in a good way. I think, wow, they're really going for it here, and that's why I think it's, for me, still the best MCU movie. But that's where nowadays I wonder now, would Black Panther 3 just be, we're just gonna have it them versus Doom, and it's just gonna be just a big war film and stuff. Like, we'll have to see. Again, it's all a waiting game, because there is only one X-Men or one film next year. The TV shows, I think, are a bit different, because I feel like they might feel like they could get away with some of that stuff more. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting from now until Secret Wars to see the route they take with these movies.
Yeah, especially with like you said, is the pivot going to work? So
yeah.
But all right, our last story, looking at Deadpool 3. Morena Baccarin confirms return as Vanessa in Deadpool 3 and teases quote-unquote fun surprise for fans. This is coming in exclusive from comicbookmovie.com. So back in April, Morena Baccarin told Michael Rosenbaum on his podcast Inside of You that while she had been contacted about starring in Deadpool 3, she said, I quote, "We have not agreed to terms." And she added that it may or may not work out. So
money.
Yeah, exactly. Money. It all comes down to the big money.
Yeah.
So earlier today, when it was written at that point, they had an interview with her and discussed her standout role in the upcoming film Fast Charlie, and they asked about Deadpool and whether she's in or not, and she just pulled a Alfred Merlin and said, yeah, I'm in it. She said, it did work out. I just finished shooting my days on it already. I think the film is now underway again after the strike, and I think it's going to be quite good. Yeah, I think fans are in for a fun surprise. So nothing necessarily outside of she's in it. She's already done filming. And they kind of asked whether she would be suiting up in blue skin at all, because her character is, tongue-in-cheek related to the character, or in name, Copycat. And she laughs and said, I think yes, but I think she's also competing with a very large universe, so we'll just have to wait and see, she said. So the big news is she's officially in it. Vanessa's back. How big of a role? Well, it doesn't sound like she needed to film too many things at that point, but she's filmed her scene. She's done at that point. So I am glad to hear officially she is back in the film.
Yeah, honestly, I expected it the whole time. I think really all of us did, but it is still nice to get that official confirmation that yes, we will be getting who knows how long, but at least at a minimum a brief appearance by Vanessa again. Luckily, Deadpool went back in time and saved her life in the second movie.
As all in the game points out in the chat.
So two things. One, I expect her screen time to be probably pretty similar to what it was in Deadpool 2, that amount. And three, I don't like or need this. I was never a fan of him going back and saving her in Deadpool 2, because I think there's a whole message in Deadpool 2, and you kind of like take it out from the knees when he just goes back and saves Vanessa. The idea is, well, one day we'll get back together, but these people need you. And we'll see what Deadpool 3 does, right? There could be some answering towards that, because we've heard there's, stuff with TVA. So maybe that could be a thing where, hey, you change it, but no, that was supposed to happen. Sorry. So I'll hold my thoughts for them. But from what I have now, I go, I never really liked that coming back. And I think when they were trying to do Deadpool 1 as a love story with those two, I think that was the perfect time. But I am somebody that thinks that Deadpool with like a significant other kind of holds him down. And I don't think that was always my wonder of after Deadpool 1. I'm like, oh, what are they going to do? He has a girlfriend. Like, I feel like that's kind of an anchor for the Deadpool character. Like, he's not usually dating people for a long amount of times. Their answer was, okay, we're going to fridge her right away. And I'm fine. I know fridge is a bad word. I'm fine sometimes. I think a story, male or female, you need to fridge a person. And I was fine with that, because, like, well, Deadpool needs, like, what would you have done with her if you didn't fridge her, right? Because it would have just been like, well, she was underwritten. There's a whole debate about that. So I'm happy for her. I'm excited to see what they do. I actually do think there could be a chance there's some copycat stuff going on, because there's a multiverse stuff. So maybe they do something there. But I'm happy for her, but I actually didn't need this. If you would have told me she's not going to make it, there wouldn't be any spilled milk over. And that's nothing against her. She's great in that first movie. I just think it's kind of like, even though it might be for other reasons, the way James Wan has been saying, oh, Aquaman was the love story and Aquaman 2 is the bromance. That's how I kind of felt about that, Deadpool 1, where, oh, that was a romantic movie. And now let's kind of move forward from that. But we'll see. But yeah, I don't think much. The screen time would be pretty little. So.
Yep. We'll just have to see. So
I think they did want to avoid the fridging though. Like they were trying to fight that, and I know like
they still did it though. Even if they bring her back, they still fridged her for a whole 2 hours.
But it's a little better by the fact that they brought her back, and they're going to continue on going forward in this one. Like that kind of helps because the fridging ultimately, like it's. I agree with you. There's times that a character's death can be a motivating factor, but it is such a hot button thing. Fridging specifically, killing the female character to benefit the male story, that it should probably be avoided more often than not whenever possible.
It's just tough though. Revenge is one of the greatest stories of all time, right? It's the easy it is, but like how many like that's the easy go to of like this is the start of the story, revenge, go.
Kind of defines a lot of Wolverine stories.
Well, yeah,
yes, that is so true. But for all we know, like she's just gonna up and leave him anyway, and be like, yeah, you went back in time for me, but I'm sick of your crap, and I'm gonna break up with you, and that's what sends him off on his bromance with Wolverine. I don't know. But I'm happy she's coming back. I don't need. This sounds bad. I don't need her to have the screen time she has in the first movie. She's not that big of a character, and when you factor in all the other characters that are confirmed and rumored to be a part of this movie, but it does feel right that she's going to have an appearance.
Yeah. So. Got like the confirmation, and we'll see what else we get. But that's all the news for this week. So we're going to take our final ad break before we get into listener feedback, Fact or Fictions, Comic Book Club, all that fun stuff. So again, listeners, these ads keep the lights on the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network. We don't get to choose what ads come on. They can be a bit loud. Give it that 3 count before they come on. 3, 2, 1. We'll be right back. All right, Brent. So you throw up the Spidey signal as always. I actually have not had an opportunity to even look at the questions this week before the show, so this will be the first time seeing it. So hit us with them.
Okay, well, yep, I threw it out there on both Threads and Twitter, so look for them there. I'm trying to use Threads more as Twitter just gets worse and worse. But from Phil, who are some unconfirmed characters that you would like to see make an appearance in Deadpool 3?
That's a tricky fine line.
Yeah.
Like how about for the sake of this, if you've seen any set photos, avoid those characters.
Yes.
So this is one that there's not set photos. There's been rumors here and there, but this is something that I said a long time ago. So it's not I would have said it a year ago. I've always said that Channing Tatum's Gambit, I think, is a must. I think, especially because both him and Ryan Reynolds have done cameos in each other's multiple times, that it's like a given. And I don't know if I want Gambit to be played serious or I want him to be a joke. I really don't know. I still think there's a possibility. I would love it if it's Channing Tatum auditioning for Gambit in the movie. Like, I think there's tons of fun you could, like something. I could
get behind that idea.
Yeah, like literally the actor like trying to say, oh, what is gonna go? So. There's that.
That's funny. I don't need his Gambit, but I could get behind the idea of him auditioning for Gambit.
I think even though it's like an end credit, it'd be cool if like for some reason Deadpool does end up in the MCU and he's like auditioning like, oh, who is gonna come with me? And he is like one of the actors trying like, oh, sorry, Chan, I'm not. Maybe next time, maybe in Phase 5.
When
Phase 7.
I know I put out a Fact or Fiction that we would see alternate versions of not only Deadpool but Wolverine in this one. Obviously besides one, I would. How about the big joke? How about Danny DeVito playing a version of Wolverine?
Sure, I'll take it. Why not?
I thought you were going to say Gwenpool, but
Gwenpool. Yeah.
Well, that's definitely a possibility. But I always see the jokes around. So Danny DeVito for Wolverine. I said, let's just see it happen, just to have a good laugh.
Yeah. Go ahead.
For me, Phil had mentioned Jean or Cyclops, and I would say those are absolutely possible. And he said either version. He didn't care which pair of the actors there were for that. I would like the idea of Cyclops, but it's
still wrong.
No, Cyclops was right. But honestly, I think I'd like to see somebody else from the MCU. It doesn't have to be the MCU version, but give us a version of a Marvel character that previously could not play in the X-Men sandbox. And like give us one of those. I think that would be fun.
How about
Yeah.
you have that that deleted scene, Spider-Man running out of the set that's become always so infamous. At that point,
Yes,
ha-
yes, I know what
have
you mean.
Tom Holland run out there.
Sure,
Just
sure. That
randomly.
sounds good. I'd be a little surprised if that's where they used his final contextual
That's
appearance.
true.
But you know what? I'm in for it. I'll go for it. It would be fun. Like it would be a good time.
You get your Spider-Man appearance for 2024, ladies and gentlemen. That's it.
I mean, fine. If they're gonna do that, can it be like Andrew Garfield or something like that? But mix it up.
Yeah,
a
you got to
little
save
bit there.
Toby. So, save Toby for Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Get that. Another couple ones. I'd like Loki. I think that would be fun. I think he's gonna be
Sure.
sitting up in his tree, but just because I think with multiverse stuff, maybe there's something to tie there. And I don't think they would ever waste it and do it on this. But I would love if they. It's always the meme, but I would love if you got Chris Evans back for like a World War II
yeah.
flashback of him and Hugh Jackman together. But I feel like they might save that and bring that if the MCU does reboot or reset. They might actually save that as like a canon thing in the future of like, oh, this version of Wolverine and Cap did go to World War II together and stuff. So yeah, as I said before, I'm pretty happy with just getting Jackman. I don't even need any of these other characters. All I needed was Deadpool and Jackman. So it's great they're there, but I'm happy with the main event already.
The Chris Evans idea is a fun one, and don't get me wrong, I would love a Captain America Wolverine movie, like retcon it in there and throw it in there. But I kind of feel like if you're gonna bring in Chris Evans, and we're talking Fox characters, Human Torch, man, Human Torch.
Yeah.
That's I like legitimately want to see him as the Human Torch again. I think that would be awesome. Specifically, like the suit that had all the stickers and stuff on it, all the patches or whatever, because he's trying to be a living billboard at that point. Like just go full on right back into that character from Rise of the Silver Surfer and the first Fantastic Four movie. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, or just like bring any of the Fantastic Four back from the Fox movies. That would be just
Bring them all.
Yeah.
Bring them all and have them all get killed. Like imagine who you see on screen. You got Chris Evans, like Human Torch, and Michael B. Jordan's Human Torch at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan's might be the only character I want to see from that movie, but I'd be into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
There
Don't
you
bring
go.
Doom back, please.
All right, what do you got next?
Sticking with Deadpool and X-Men characters from Anthony DC Outlaw says, besides Ryan Reynolds, what X-Men characters would you want to see or do you think might actually be kept, believe will be kept on after Deadpool 3 and after the Multiverse saga is over? So,
Oh,
you think
after the
any of the
Multiverse
Fox
saga.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the big kicker. He says after the Multiverse saga is over, do you think any of those characters are going to stick around?
Like with the actors still playing them?
Yeah.
No.
Other than Ryan,
Not a
no.
one.
I think
Not
Ryan.
a one.
I think Ryan.
yeah.
Ryan stays. Like obviously he's a cash cow. I would love to live in a world where they do have Laura early on the team and they keep Daphne Keane just because hey people like her. She's older now, so I'd love it if. Because like if we're thinking realistically, I know because I'm a fanboy of it, but I think that would be the only one realistically they would keep. Like I don't think they're gonna keep Marston and Femke. I think just because Laura, the actress Daphne Keane, she's younger, so she could still be part of the cast, right? A lot of other people, I think they'll want to get people that could do this for 15 to 20 years, but no. And even Ryan, I don't think like his cast stays. Like I don't think Morena stays. I don't think Colossus. I think Ryan's like the one Mulligan you bring along, and he can know like I used to be in this other mold, and everyone's like whatever, Deadpool. So yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah,
Technically, at that point, he'd be in
X-23,
like 3
it's her.
at that point.
Yeah, he would be.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
X-23 is the one. Like, she is the one with the best chance of it, and she's the one I would root for. As harsh as this sounds, everybody else you can go give me an all-new cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and we had one more from Omari over on Twitter. Are there any MCU movies that you feel have aged well over time, that have gotten better since you watched them? He thinks the first Iron Man holds up great for a movie made in 2008, even without the future MCU movies.
Yeah, Iron Man stuff because I've just always loved it. So like, there's dated things, but I've never thought it's been too dated.
I mean, it's got the MySpace reference at the beginning.
Of
that
course,
always just makes
yeah.
me laugh. And I love the
Yeah.
flip phone he's using at the beginning of that movie too.
Oh right, yeah, forgot about that. Yeah, I think I have a controversial pick that it's for me Winter Soldier. I know someone's gonna be like, oh, but everyone says it's the best. I've always said, even when I hosted a show with Chris at the beginning, we talked about our favorites. It was not. I didn't love it the first time because I had the effect too of I had to see it a week later because I was out of town. I just heard. That was in that era when it's like, this is as good as The Dark Knight. And Dark Knight to me is my favorite movie of all time. So that was like a lot of things. And it wasn't bad. I just like, oh, it didn't meet that. over time, I started to like it more and more. And I think I got to that level where like, okay, I understand why people love this, have it at their best. But for a little while, I was like, like, I'm not on the same wavelength as everyone else. So there's that. And then I'm trying to think. I think most of them have kind of aged pretty much the same. Like, I don't think there's massive leaps and bounds. They've kind of all stayed. If anyone, there's been maybe some that have dipped. And I guess the other one, but same thing I loved at day one was Incredible Hulk. I appreciate that more and more because I'm a big fan of that era of Hulk. But yeah, so that would be it. Winter Soldier, just because I didn't love it the first time like everyone else did. But now I'm definitely on that bandwagon.
I would say for me, and I bring this up, plug for our Patreon show we talk about there, that, Incredible Hulk, I agree. I really loved that movie the first time, but I mean, as years go on, I found a new appreciation for it, so it just continued to improve with mine. The other one was Civil War, and I know that brings a smile to Brent's face at that point, because rewatching it for Patreon, hearing a lot of different things, including Brent and other people, of how to look at that movie and where it kind of watching it in chronological order, where pieces and how much of an impact it has on other films. I was like, yeah, it actually went up in my rankings because of that. So nice. I think Civil War has a different perspective, and it's not just to say it's just Avengers 2.5 is like, you can say that, but I think you're missing the point.
This is a hard question for me because it's like I feel like I've seen these movies so many times that it hasn't had an opportunity. Like for me to see a movie that's aged, it's like I need to have not seen it for 10 years, and then you're rewatching it. Like I haven't seen, tis the season. I haven't seen Home Alone in who knows how long. And if I mean, I saw the movie a million times as a kid, but if I watched it today, that I would feel like I could really see, like, does this movie hold up? Did it age well or whatever? Yes. I suspect that it probably did, but so it's a little harder for me with these movies that I've seen, and I go back to the beginning in Iron Man's case, at least a dozen times? I don't know. I guess if you want a specific answer, I'll go back almost 10 years and say Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. And specifically, I'm looking at like the special effects in that movie, like the way Rocket looks, the way Groot looks and stuff. Sure, you compare side by side Rocket in Volume 1 to Volume 3. Yeah, I think he probably does look better in Volume 3, but I still think it looks great in Volume 1. So I'm going to go with that as my answer if I have to pick a specific.
All right. Any more questions?
Nope, that's it.
All right. So thank you all for those questions. And let us head to Fact or Fiction. So last week, I'm pulling those up right now. So, all right, number one. At least one of the MCU 2025 movies will be bumped to 2026, which includes Captain America: Brave New World, Thunderbolts, Blade, and Fantastic Four. I'm impressed by anyone voting fiction on that, but 94% said fact, 6% said fiction. Very curious to see who just wanted to be the outlier on that one.
If anyone did vote fiction, and this is not even a troll thing,
somebody did.
Yeah, I'd like to know your reasoning why. Because I'm complete fact in this. Because I just think I'm hoping it's just what we've said before. That's just holding a placeholder because it made no sense of we're gonna slow things back and then also 2 years from now there's 4 movies and they're all.
I thought it was a slam dunk 100% yes.
Like 100%. Yeah,
you chose low hanging fruit on that.
I thought so, but some people not so much.
And who knows? It'd be the biggest swing because maybe in 2026 when all 4 come out, we go, damn, we were really wrong about that one.
So if that was you, please tell me why.
Yeah, I legit want to know the reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you'll convince us.
And then he'll just say, I just wanted to be different.
Yeah.
if that's your answer, I don't want to hear it.
No.
Yeah. All right, number 2. Kang will be alluded to in Deadpool 3. 62% said fact, 38% said fiction.
Oh, yeah. To me, it's a fact. Even if it's a joke, not even if it's a serious illusion, like something, literally just Deadpool will make some sort of joke. Like he made a Thanos joke in Deadpool 2, like that's the thing where I just feel like, yeah, he will make a Kang joke or there's a reference. Whether it's serious or not, it's going to happen.
Yeah. Number 3, Beyond the Spider-Verse will show a hero that is not a Spider-Person, but likely just in passing. 64% said fact, 36% said fiction. We heard from, I believe it was Chris Miller that said they are now deep into the writing and moving forward with Beyond the Spider-Verse.
And yet they had that scheduled for 2024 originally. Yeah. Like, what are they talking about?
Either that was a date hold or they were going to work those FX people real hard.
No joke.
Yeah.
Those poor people.
With whoever's left.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
All right, so
All
I'm
right.
at the bat here. Okay, so what I did is I have one, and then I have two because it was a busy day for me. I threw it to the GV Discord. I said, "Hey, give me some ideas. I want from the people." There was two that I didn't do because they're kind of stuff you've already talked about before. There have been variations, so there's a few in there. But I'm going to start with mine, and it's a Deadpool type of night. So let's do this. After Deadpool 3, we will not see Deadpool until Secret Wars. And that means anything, not animation, of course. I'll say live action.
Okay.
So no end credit cameos, no setup. Just you won't see him till Secret Wars.
Request denied. No fiction. No.
So
when would you see him then?
Yeah,
when do you
that's
think you see him?
that'd be my follow-up.
We'll find a place. I'd have to find somewhere he will fit. He's too good at character, and Ryan Reynolds is too good as him.
Yeah, but think about how long we've waited already to get from Deadpool 2. I know there was a buyout and stuff.
Half that time was the pandemic, the buyout, the strike.
I know, but
you can't look at the absolute years. You have to look at like the actual years where like they could actively be working on the project. In which case, it hasn't been that long.
I got to ask Brent because I'm with Travis that's saying it won't come back.
The real answer is Thunderbolts is the most obvious place.
Okay.
And
really?
if there was a little more time between Deadpool 3 and Thunderbolts, I would be dead set on that happening. Yes, Deadpool, like just the character on that type of team would fit in great.
I agree. It would fit in great. It would be an interesting contrast with.
And just watching Sentry jack him up would be so much fun.
That would be fun. Also, basically, you have Red Guardian, who's aloof at that point, but now having Deadpool and the thing. Yeah, I would love to see it, and I would love to see you prove that right. Because again, I'd like to see more Deadpool. Right now, I just don't see it until Secret Wars. So.
I think the only two scenarios that this happens is. I don't know. I guess I just don't really know. There's been rumors about Doctor Strange 3 could be a big setup, and I don't want to repeat that because there's a bunch of rumors he'd be Multiverse of Madness, and he wasn't, right? The only time I could see it messing me up is it being the end credit of Kang Dynasty. Like imagine Tom
end credits don't count for these kind of things.
But that's what I'm saying in general, seeing him, and that's the only time I could see a situation where, let's say, we lose a bunch of Avengers or like a snap event happens and Tom Holland's alone and he wakes up in some multiverse. And could you just imagine fucking just Deadpool going down like, oh, who are you? Like, because I think that would be a great person for him to see first would be Deadpool. Just like to have Ryan Reynolds riff on Tom Holland for a bit. And that'd be like a full, like somehow Tom Holland ends up in the Fox universe that's left after Deadpool 3. Like that's the only time I see it. But I think reason is I think they want to save it. I think they're going to have a big thing and they're going to be like, oh, we want that poster of, maybe Downey, Maguire, Jackman, Reynolds, Hall. Like I think that
he's going to show up in Venom.
Oh God, jeez. Boy, yeah, let's not do that.
That makes my head hurt.
Yeah, so I'll say fact just for saving it, but there's always a pesky end credit out there, so we'll see. So I thought this was a good one. So Summer Hansey asked she didn't give a time frame, just said, will we see at least, as my phone disappears the comment. Hang on, I got a screenshot here. Will we see at least one more previously announced Disney Plus show get changed into movie, i.e. Armor Wars? Obviously, the strike affected a lot of things. We've heard rumors about Mandalorian becoming a movie. That's a 50-50, but we saw the Armor Wars. So what do you think? Is there any series that's announced that could be, even if it's a season 2, right? You could get like a... Not that I don't think they'd go that route, but maybe like a Moon Knight season 2 movie instead, or like
how about a She-Hulk season 2?
She-Hulk, yeah, Miss Marvel.
I don't know if they could do She-Hulk right now.
No, I just want to see it just to see all of everyone lose their freaking minds again.
That's when like it's a movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know if they can do a She-Hulk movie, but Moon Knight is the first character I thought of.
Yeah. But I see with everything. Again, I go back to what Iger's saying on all the pivots they're making now with Marvel Studios. I don't see it. And I know, Travis, you've been saying it for a while there that Armor Wars is definitely in jeopardy in the sense of like what they could see. I still lean it's going to happen, but I more every day with I hear these comments and things like that.
Where's the date?
But here's the thing: Wonder Man is still filming.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they could have easily shut that down because they were barely a couple of days into it before the shutdown happened. So,
I feel like if I'm not going to say it's never going to happen, you know, they're going to announce a Disney Plus show and it's going to become a movie. Like, what is the current plan for Armor Wars?
Yeah.
But I don't think realistically any of the currently announced or heavily rumored projects are that way.
Yeah.
With a possible exception, if you would even count this, for whatever live action thing Coogler is working on for Wakanda. Because it wasn't just one show he was working on, it was multiple projects. And so the Eyes of Wakanda may have been one. Possible asterisks next to that. But otherwise, I think anything that we know about is going to Disney Plus.
So the two things, I'll take the realistic approach and I'll take the least realistic approach. I think the two things you could see is maybe the shows that have been rumors, stuff like we thought about there might be like a 10 ring show and that's never gone anywhere, right? The 10 rings will return. Well, when are they going to return? You know, same thing with Cougar stuff. I could see those ideas get fashioned into a Shang-Chi or Black Panther sequel. Like ideas for shows that were going to be spin-off. They go, no, let's not do that. Let's put that into, and maybe that happens with Armor Wars. Let's put that into another one. The only one that's heavily rumored or announced I could see for some reason, and I don't know why, because it was a massive hit show and everything, but I just wonder if they could tinker with Vision Quest, especially if you're bringing Ultron back, especially if it is about the family dynamic. If you could, I know Marvel doesn't do this, but if you could make it a smaller budget and make it a more personal one, and maybe that also just gets shifted into Vision Quest turns into another Vision and Wanda project, et cetera, right? Because we've heard that, they still want to do... Yeah, she's dead. But we still heard they want to do a Scarlet Witch movie, right? So I could see Vision Quest or whatever that is getting turned into a movie with the addition of, we're going to bring Wanda. Because I just also wonder... I love that there's rumors like, they might, adapt Viv and the whole family. I would love that. Yeah. I just don't know how they view... It's a catch-22 because WandaVision, you could argue, is maybe their biggest pop culture show, but at the same time, if they're pulling stuff back, I wonder what the demand is as for just a Vision show with his family. I don't know what the demand is there. I really don't. So I feel like it's a 50-50 shot. So that's why I'd say Vision is the only one that could say, let's do this a movie, throw in Wanda, spruce it up a little, and go that route instead of a 6 to 8 episode show. So, but I'll say fiction for now to be sure.
All right.
Okay.
All right, and the final one. There's still one more. Still one more. The best one yet. Yeah,
well,
best.
I thought you were doing like your Discord one first, so I got confused. So.
Oh yeah, no, I had to. I saved Hansy's. I really liked Hansy's. I saved this one because it's an awful one, but there was actually 5. So let me do a bonus 4th one because I like this one as well. So I'm gonna start with this other serious one. We've talked about a little bit, but I want official fact or fiction. Superman Mike says Jessica Henwick will reprise her role as Colleen Wing from Iron Fist and will act as the Iron Fist moving forward.
Oh God, that is that's one of the biggest losses from Netflix and that show.
I don't like the 2-part nature of that. I think she'll be back,
but she wouldn't be.
I don't know for sure that she'll be the Iron Fist, but I want to say fact because I would like it. I think it'd be great if it did, and frankly, I think it'd piss off all the right people, so that'd be fine too.
I would say fact.
No messaging. Stop it.
Yeah. I would say fact that I would want it. I would say fiction just because I feel like a lot of the stuff we heard of, like we're doing Midnight Suns, we're doing this. I think a lot of stuff is going to be, we're going to wait a little bit longer. So I guess there was no time frame. It was never like he didn't say, phase 5, 6, but so I guess I can't say.
I feel like as long as Daredevil's still getting 18 episodes, that there is an opportunity for it.
I'll say fact now because there was no time frame. So I'll say fact that, yes, it could happen. I think that's the way you do it. So I'll say fact.
Yeah. I'm going to go with hard on this one. I'm saying fact as well. I liked her way too much on that one. And she's playing coy a lot of different times. I think she wants to come back, and I think she will have that opportunity.
I mean, she said she passed up on an opportunity to audition for Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
So, and that was just at the prospect of being able to come back as Colleen Wing.
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
And so she wants it. We want it. Like, it's sold. Let's do it. Like, I don't know why we're here. Kevin, get on it.
And remember, she knew about Charlie coming back before. Like she said, like, oh yeah, he knew for a while. So it's like she's maybe around those circulations. And plus, she's a bigger star. She was in Knives Out. She was in Matrix. She has a indie movie coming out this year that looks fun. So yeah, she has more of a name. But yeah, I'm happy we did the 3 because this one is awful. It's from Taylor Fields, but I had to include it because he always finds some sort of way to bring this up, and he wanted me to bring it up here. So we will see Hulk's son Scar in the next Avengers film. Now, he did not say being a member. He just said we will see Scar in the next. So Kang Dynasty,
okay,
that's next one.
So here's the pitch at this point. It's going to be Bruce holding up. See, you want to see a picture of my son? Here you go. He's in
That's
the
what I
film.
mean. Yeah, it's like he said see. He didn't say will
in
appear.
the next Avengers film.
In the next Avengers,
We will see
film.
Scar. And I say no, don't count obviously like the Marvel opening title, like not that. Like
No,
will
no,
we
no.
see anything of Scar in the next Avengers film?
Do post-credit scenes count?
Sure, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one who wakes up Tom Holland. You're in a new universe. I'm
guess
gonna say
gonna-
fiction.
Man.
Yeah,
I think they're
no.
gonna. I think
Yeah,
Scar
fiction.
will be killed, and I think Scar unfortunately is there just to be fridged. I think he is there as
Can't
a.
fridge a mail.
No. What he's gonna be, he's gonna be there with Poochie from The Simpsons and gone off to his home planet.
Poochie's returned to his home
Yeah.
planet. He,
Is there a male
he'll-
version of fridging?
There's not. Hulk
Freezing?
Will, Hulk will get pissed because Scar will be killed, and it'll make him
Yes.
go savage again, and he'll lose. Man, if he had said like in Secret Wars, I would have said fact.
Mm-hmm.
But in Kang Dynasty, God, I'm gonna go with fiction. I genuinely don't think so. And if I'm wrong, I think it's the credit scene.
Yeah.
Or like Chris said, where it's literally they just show a picture of we've lost some people these past few years, and it's like a dead Scar.
Yeah,
and
it'll be like a repeat of the Endgame scene where it's just his picture on a monitor.
yeah, missing.
We hardly knew ye.
Yeah, I hope that Hulk movie is real because I was very disappointed how they introduced Scar. I think that was a very strange picnic, and that's why I don't think he'll make it to Avengers. So I'll say fiction, but cue to
that
4
scene
years.
is so weird.
And
It's
here's my
Daredevil
son.
with one of the
So
major
random.
Avenger characters and Scar.
Yeah,
It's like, here's my son.
yeah. But watch, 4 years, Taylor will be fist bumping in the theater when they just show
You will
a
be.
mere
That's
second
fine.
of Scar.
It'll be Scar riding alongside Ghost Rider, and
Yeah,
he will
so there you go,
be
Taylor. Yeah.
glorified.
He's gonna hold his hat on that because he predicted the movie theater for Godzilla -1. So
That was absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So, all right, we'll post all 4 of those, including the ridiculous one at that point on Sunday. So let your voices be heard. And but yeah, are you sticking on, Travis? Or are you gonna?
Yeah, no,
bow
I'll stick
out?
around. And
Okay.
I haven't read the comic book, but I'll be
Yeah,
around for the post credit
that's okay.
as well too. So
All right. So let's go to Comic Book Club, our penultimate issue of Punisher, issue 11 at this point. So, yeah, we're wrapping up some things at this point, and I found myself laughing a lot more than I should probably in a Punisher.
Well, that's been the story of this series, right? I mean, it's all
That's
been
true, but this one in
demented, but
particular, I was laughing a lot.
I love how he defeated the Russian. Absolutely
Yes.
love it. You know, he's got himself a pie from Sal's Pizza, and he steals it from Mr. Bumpo, throws it in his face, burns him, and then suffocates the guy with Bumpo. He turned Bumpo into a murderer for one thing.
I know, yeah. I was wondering, I was like, okay, where's this going to go in the sense of when he lifts him up, said, how are you feeling, Mr. Bumpo? And I was like, I think that has 2 meanings there. Not in the sense, he says he lifts up, I feel kind of weird. I was like, no, I think the other thing is, how do you feel about being used to murder someone at that point? You're literally are the definition of an accessory to murder.
Right, like he turned this guy into a weapon. Just, I mean, that's the Punisher. He uses anything. You know, he beat a guy with pizza and a very large man next to him at the same time.
Yeah, and as I predicted, these 3 vigilantes who think themselves
The Vigilante Squad.
the vigilante squad. I was about to say they should have called them the Asgardians of the Galaxy at that point.
No joke.
and I was just like, part of me is just hoping is like, you know, the priest should have just hacked him up right there at that point because none of them are going to get along. They're all ridiculous at that point, and I'm just hoping at the final issue, again, haven't read this in a number of years, so I cannot remember how it ends. I'm just hoping they meet their lovely fate because they have just become annoying and they just need to go.
It does feel like, though, you know, there's one more issue and they still haven't run into the Punisher yet. And I, like, in hindsight, I'm like, and we talked about this a little bit with the last issue, but it's like, if we could just take out all the cop scenes of those 2
Yes,
cops, like we don't
absolutely.
just take out every one of those pages and move the story a little bit quicker, we could have gotten a little more time with them and the Punisher.
Yeah. It is just, yeah, like that point, yeah. It seems to be the threads that bring this series down, or that, like, the vigilantes had something, but now it's kind of like become a joke, and the cops just, that could have been left out there completely, not doing it at that point. But what was interesting was seeing the Punisher show up at Maguchi's place, and doing what he did to let all of her bodyguards and all her minions at that point, brings the head of the Russian and said, "This all you got?" And they're like, "Nope, I'm out." I mean, just by the definition of Frank Castle, what he's done should have been enough. Nope, he's got to bring the severed head of the Russian and just say, "Nope, all right, sorry, Maguchi, you're on your own."
Yeah, the severed head. It looked like a scene out of The Walking Dead or something like that, right? Like, and it was. I mean, I'll say it. I laughed when I saw it.
Oh, yeah,
I was not expecting it, and that has been a theme for this title. Like, it has made me laugh at some demented stuff, but that's that's the Punisher for you. It fits the character.
That is. So, all right. Well, we will conclude the Punisher in 2 weeks, since I'm not going to be here next week, and we will conclude that. And all right. Well, volume 194 in the books at that point. So, as always, Mr. Tell, always glad to have you back on the show.
Yeah, sorry, there's definitely a delay there.
Maybe not.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, okay. No, it was good to be back. Yeah, I was happy. Like I said, I was bummed not to get back in November and stuff, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to be back for the next one because that's our predictions, and then I should be around for the 200, which I don't know when 200 is, but it's coming up close. It's coming up soon, so
Yeah,
about 6 weeks or so.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
God,
everybody.
we gotta do the math. We're not, maybe I might be away that one. I've got to do some math on that one, just making sure I'm actually here. We may have to do like a 199.5 or something
Exactly,
to technically make
We'll
sure.
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But no, a big thank you as always to the Marvel Alliance listeners and a happy holidays to everybody, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. I hope you have a good next 2 weeks until the next time I'm on. So
Yeah. Brent, actually, Mr. Tell how people they can follow you.
Trasby Snell, you can find me just getting up to hijinks. You can find, hopefully, in January, I'll be promoting a bunch. Hopefully, Geek Force has their first film coming out, so look out for that. That'll be lots of fun. But yeah, we'll be reviewing Aquaman next week, Rebel Moon. Yeah, tomorrow I'm watching a Grinch parody movie, which I don't know. See, that's how I don't know. I get circled in these things. But yeah, just follow me
You got
there.
the Beekeepers too coming up, right?
No, we had to hit the whole extra life goal to hit that. We did not hit the goal. We hit
okay,
all the
gotcha,
goals
yeah.
except for the final goal. So I'm beekeeper free, thank goodness. I did not want to see the Jason Statham directed by, I like some of Ayer's work, but just, yeah, I'm happy to have that night off.
Yeah, there you go. Brent, tell me where they can follow you.
Yeah, Brentech Prime, pretty much everywhere. I've been really making an effort to be on Threads more lately, so I guess look for me there for things that I'm actually posting, but you can still reach me on the other places too.
Yeah, we've got to be looking at putting a Marvel Alliance one on there on Threads as well.
Yeah.
Gotta
Do they have
be looking at that.
hashtags yet or like trending?
They do.
Like,
They do.
Yep, they do.
But you
Hashtag.
can do one per post, and I
That's
actually kind of
fine.
like it.
Yeah.
So
Actually
you can
kinda like
click on it,
better.
right? I'm not saying
Mhm,
I
yeah.
just feel like that's how those early days I found either comic book or wrestling fans was just seeing what was trending or something out
And
there, right?
as of
'Cause-
1 or 2 days ago, it's in the EU, so a whole lot
Yep.
more people are there now.
Okay, yeah, I gotta start using my account more. So yeah, maybe in the new year that'll be my resolution: get some Marvel Alliance, some Geek First Council in there. So maybe we'll
There
make
you
that.
go.
Yep, make the
add to
transition,
list.
so.
Yeah,
Yep, you can follow me on Twitter at Chris Balging. You can follow my other show, World's Finest True Believers, at Finest Believers. And you can follow this show on Twitter at Marvel 8 Podcast. Again, want to thank our official sponsor, Organic Price Books. Use that code Marvel GUA at checkout to get $2 off every single order. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com, Geek Ultimate Alliance at GAGUA Pod Network, and feel free to tweet, email if you want our feedback. DMs are open. Give us questions, feedback, all the good stuff at that point. Continue to rate and review us on our solo feed, our network feed, and all the places: Apple, Spotify, Amazon, where all you listen to your podcast. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for joining us in the chat. I will see you in 2 weeks. So for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah for those that are celebrating. Happy Kwanzaa. All the holidays. Hope you all enjoy it. I'll see you in 2 weeks. And stay safe out there, everyone. And as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior, true believers. All right, post-credits discussion, gentlemen. This came about, I think, end of last week, beginning of this week. There was this lawsuit. I think we had mentioned it when it first was coming about with the Ditko estate, Steve Ditko's estate, suing Disney. Well, apparently they have reached a settlement. So the blockbuster home of Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, and many more, this is kind of going back to what it was. basically they had sued. They said any contributions Steve Ditko made to the works were done at Marvel's expense because Marvel paid Steve Ditko per page rate for his contributions. Steve Ditko made those contributions with the expectation that Marvel would pay him, and Steve Ditko did not obtain any ownership interest in or into his contributions. And so, looking at that idea, the idea was people were really worried when this lawsuit came about for the Ditko estate suing Disney for this. They were worried in the sense of like, oh, that means they'll never create any of these, have these ideas of creator, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Iron Man, like ever to use ever again, which wasn't the lawsuit. It was basically in the sense of money and getting the paying at that point. So when it came down to it, that they basically, they paid up. And after 2 years, they reached a settlement, and the estate of the acclaimed comic book artist Steve Ditko, they have reached the agreement. They filed the paperwork at that point, and the Ditko estate said they sought termination notice for the rights to these ideas, that they would not give them the rights to use it without their permission. But again, they would just come down to money. So, as we said, without the writers and the Screen Actors Guild and everything, that you got to pay the people. And at the core of this whole thing was a 1909 Copyright Act, work made for hire, in the sense of the idea that there was work for hire, which Marvel claimed Ditko was part of. They have no rights to these at that point, and they were suing, necessarily saying, hey, that shouldn't be the way it is. So they reached an agreement. Like, again, it's all a matter of chicken when it comes to this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would love to see what contracts are like nowadays for comic book creators and stuff. And that's why they probably still not the greatest. You have many people that go out on their own and they're starting their own companies and everything. And it's such a, because I know you guys have talked about this. I know me and Chris have talked about this, because these issues always come up. I feel like every 6 months, there's a new big issue with content and who's owed what. And it's a sticky situation that I'm not smart enough to figure out, because it is that thing of, hey, that you were commissioned for some work and they paid you for some work, right? And there's examples of that where same thing like where I live right now, the wife runs the daycare out of that, and we don't pay the people that built our house more because they built it. But with comic books and stuff, and with it being in the public eye, it's so much different. There's so much variation, right? So I think it's best that they just always try to, I really don't know. I can see both sides. I always lean towards the content creators, because like they pour their heart and soul in there. The big corporations are going to be A-okay with giving a little money, spreading it around and stuff like that. So I do go that way, but I always do see it's not a black and white issue. It's not like as long as people do what they're contracted to do, then it's tough. But that it's different if, hey, he did this and they never paid him. They did. It's just a question of, okay, what you ended up using it for. So it's always a tricky situation. I hope nowadays they have that figured out, whether it's a pro or con for creators of saying, hey, when you sign this, no matter what in the future, you know what you're signing up for. And that's why people like Scott Snyder, etc., should go out there and go start their own ones. It's tougher, but at least it's your thing. And of course, I want these great creators on Marvel and DC, but I get it also. If you feel you're putting in this great amount of work and you're not getting paid, then believe as yourself as a creator and go do something else. So it's not an easy issue.
Yeah, so 2 clarifying points. Copyright Act of 1976 allows the heirs to pull the plug on any license granted, transfer to copyrighted material with a fully executed notice. So again, Marvel would not lose ownership of the characters. Mm-hmm. They would retain co-ownership and would involve payouts to the co-owners, among other requirements, along with profit sharing. So the idea that if they terminated, they would now have to share profits made based off these characters with Ditko. Their terms of the settlement have not been revealed, but my guess is Disney, Marvel retains full ownership, and they got some sort of payout that appeased the Ditko estate.
Yeah.
Well, that has to be what happened, because the Toberoff, the attorney for the Ditko estate, said basically they came to an amicable agreement, and so Ditko's family, Ditko's estate, they got paid, right? Yeah. Like they got paid. There's no way they didn't get paid through this. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I'm fine with that. You co-created some of the you co-created Spider-Man, that alone, your family should be set like for life. I'm sorry, like they should just be set. And I'm glad that it wasn't a case of like Marvel and by extension Disney losing ownership of the characters. I don't want that to necessarily happen, but that estate, that family, they should be taken care of. And even though it was Steve Ditko who did that work, at least as far as I'm concerned, that should go down to his heirs. And so I'm happy that they came to an agreement that everybody seems to be happy with.
Yeah. And along the same lines, at that point, I tell you what, Ditko's hired the best lawyers at that point because these are the same lawyers that fought for Siegel and Schuster getting the Superman rights.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they chose right in the sense of with that one. So
if this happens again, you know what lawyers are getting a call.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they have a proven track record. They know what they're doing in these kind of cases.
They're the Johnny Cochran of comic book rights.
There you go.
Yep, exactly. So, but all right. So hope you all enjoyed that. And again, I will see you in 2 weeks. And Brent and David will be back next week. So see y'all later. Bye-bye.